What's up guys, there's Cousin here. In this video, we are going to build a very popular custom hook in React called useLocalStorage. As the name implies, this is a hook that is going to allow us to easily work with the local storage in our applications. Alright, cool. So let's begin. As usual, we have a very simple application in front of us. There's only this text input here, which we can type anything into, literally, right? And then we have three buttons: set, get, and remove. Currently, these buttons do nothing. There's no functions attached to them in the code, and what we're going to do in this video is we're going to create a hook called useLocalStorage that is going to expose to us three different functions: one to set something in the local storage, one to get something from the local storage, and of course one to remove an item from the local storage. This is what the code looks like for this application. Right now, we only have one piece of state called value, which is getting passed here to this input as its value. And then of course, as always, we have the onChange event listener that is going to update the value. And then here at the bottom, we have our three buttons: set, get, and remove. And as I've said, there's currently no function attached to any of them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create our hook, and we're going to create each of these individual functions: the function to set something, the function to get something, and then the function to remove something. So the first step in that is I'm going to create the actual file that's going to hold our hook. So I'm going to come here and then do new file, and that's going to be useLocalStorage.ts because we are working in TypeScript. And for now, the only thing that I'm going to do in this file is I'm going to come here and do export const useLocalStorage. And that's going to be an empty function for now because I don't want to add any functionality just yet. Then we're going to come here in the parent component, and we're actually going to use this hook. So I'm going to come here and then do useLocalStorage, import it, and then give it nothing because, as we've said, it currently accepts no parameters. This is the basic form of a custom hook in React. We just have a function that we export in a different file, and then we're importing it in the parent component and using it directly. So now the first function that we're going to want to build is the function to set an item in the local storage. We want a function that is going to allow us to set any kind of value in the local storage based off of a key. We're going to need a key for this because, as you know, if I do window.localStorage.setItem, as you can see here, set item requires a key as a string. And currently our hook, everything that we've built so far, does not support a key. So the first change that we're going to have to do is come in here to our useLocalStorage hook and add a key as its parameter. So we're going to do key, and that's going to be of type string, right? And then we're going to have to come in the parent, and we're going to have to give it a key because now it's expecting one argument, but it received 0. So the key for this, we're just going to do, for example, value. We can do value, we can put anything, right? It's the key that we want to store our data or value under. Great. So now that we've added the key to our custom hook, we have everything that we need to start building the set item function. So I'm going to come here to our file, and I'm going to create a new function. We're going to do const set item. That is going to take a value. So we're going to do value, and that's going to be of type unknown because we can't really know and we don't really care what kind of value, right? We should be agnostic. You should be able to put any sort of value in the local storage. So we're going to use unknown for its type. And then we're going to do an arrow function, and that's going to return some things. And the first thing that I will do is I will do window.localStorage.setItem. We're going to give it the key that we have here. And then we're going to do JSON.stringify. Copilot is being very helpful. We're going to stringify the value in case it's an object, in case it's an array, so that it can get stored as a string directly in the local storage. Then what we have to do is come here, make a new line, and we have to return the actual function. So we'll do return. And here I like to return an object because we're going to be returning multiple functions from this hook. And now it's only going to return set item. So we'll do set item, and it's going to return this. And then in the parent, where we actually used our hook, we can now access this new set item function. We can do const and then do some object destructuring, set item equals useLocalStorage, right? We've accessed the set item function directly from useLocalStorage. And we're going to access the other functions that we're going to create shortly in the same way. And then the last thing that we need to do is actually add this function to our button. So I'm going to come here to our button, do on click. That's going to take in set item, and we're going to pass it the value that is going to come from our state here, right? That is going to be the value from this input. Currently, it can only be of type string. I know that in the local storage hook, we said type unknown, which string is also of type unknown. This hook, remember, is going to be reusable. So we don't actually care what the value is, which means that we can use it here with a string. We could have used it with an array, with an object, with anything. That is why we put unknown, and that is why passing a string here gives us no errors. And now with this, we can go back to our application. We can come here to this input. We can type something, literally, with the spelling mistake, and then we can press set, and then if we just open up our console here at the local storage, we're going to see that value has something, right? I can put this to something else, and then if we put set, it's going to get set to something else. So we've just validated that our hook works, and we're now able to set something in the local storage. Great, so now we can move on and add our second function, which is going to be the get item function. But before we do that, I want to make a change here to this set item function, because actually we've done a mistake here. So accessing window.localStorage directly can actually throw an error in some cases. For example, if the browser doesn't support local storage, there are some browsers, some versions of browsers that don't support local storage, or in this case, as we're setting an item, we may be in a situation where the storage doesn't have enough space for us to store that item, and then it's going to throw an error. So you always want to be on the cautious side, and you want to catch an error if it happens and maybe display something to the user to not have the application crash when you're trying to access the local storage. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here and wrap this whole thing in a try catch block. So we'll do try, and then we're going to put this code here, and then we're going to do catch error. And then for now, we're just going to console log the error because we don't want to actually do anything. Doing it this way is a little bit more code, but now you've guaranteed that in any case, even if there's an error, the application itself is not going to crash, which is always a better thing. Then we can actually go and create our get item function. So we're going to do const get item. That's going to take in no parameters for now, and it's going to return to us. Again, we're going to let Copilot do and see what it does. Yes, this looks like it's correct. So first we're going to want to wrap everything in a try catch block for the same reasons as we did it in this function. And then we're going to try to get the item, right, based off of the key, which we have the key here. We're going to try to get that item. And then if we have an item, we are going to return json.parse and then that item. Actually, I'm going to refactor this into a simple line. I'm just going to do return item question mark JSON parse.item, otherwise return undefined. It's just a little bit better, and then we can remove this, and now this get item function is a little bit cleaner. And then the last thing that we need to do is we just need to add it here. So we'll do get item, and now we also are exporting this get item function, which means that in the parent we can come back and now we can do get item and we'll have access to it, and then we can actually pass this to our button. So we'll do on click, and then we're going to do this. And now to get the item, we're just going to console log the item because we have nothing else to do with it for now. And we just want to validate that this hook works as we intend. So we'll do console.log get item, and then just call this function directly, and that should be good. And then if we go and check out our application again and open up the console, we can now press the get button to see what that does. And great, it looks like it's working. It's returning to us something else, which is the last value that we had in the previous example that was still stored in the local storage. So this shows to us that this get function is working correctly. I can put here anything again, and I can set it, and then if I press get, it's going to return to us anything. I can put here subscribe to cause then solutions. I can set it, I can get it, and it's going to return to us subscribe to cause and solutions, which I really hope that you are subscribed, because if you're watching this video and you're watching it thus far, I really think that that deserves a subscription. So great, our set function, our get function work correctly. That is a great thing to see. Cool, so now we only have one function left to do, and that is the remove function. So we're going to come here to our hook, and as we've done before, we're going to do here const remove item, and that's going to take in nothing. And then we're going to let Copilot see what it comes up with, and this looks very correct. We're going to wrap everything in a try catch block, and then we're just going to do window.localStorage.remove item, and again, based off the key, it's going to return the item. And then all that we have to do is come here and then just do remove item. And actually I have a typo here. I just noticed it. I'm going to fix this. What happened? I'm going to fix it like this. Great. And then we can go back to our parent and we can now just do remove item. And then we can pass it here to our button on click remove item. And that should work. And now if we go back to our application, we refresh, we can do get subscribe to cause and solutions. Again, hopefully you're subscribed by now. And then if I press remove and then I press get again, we get undefined, right? I can do test set get, test is shown up, I can remove it, I press get, and it's undefined again. Our remove item function works as expected. And that's really it, guys. Honestly, like, I really hope that you get to see the value of using custom hooks. We're able to get all of this functionality in literally one line of code. Now, of course, all of this functionality is hidden away in this hook right here, right? You can't avoid this. You have to put the complex logic somewhere, but this means that any component that wants to make use of the local storage can just use this hook directly and get access to all of these functions, get item, set item, and remove item, and use them super easily. If you've enjoyed this video, as always, you can click here to subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. You can also click here to watch a different video of mine, which I'm sure is super awesome. And with that being said, my name has been Darius Kozin. This is Kozin Solutions. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you all in the next video. Ciao.